35, everybody, a 16-year-old recovering from a gunshot wound in Brooklyn. He was shot just a couple of short blocks from the Margaret S. Douglas School.
And this comes just a week after two students and a school safety agent were shot last week in Williamsburg. The NYPD has increased police presence around schools, but will it actually make students safer?
So here to talk about it is Mona David. She is the founder of the New York City School Safety Coalition. Mona, good morning to you. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And so, Mona, we're seeing more and more of this, right? With these incidents taking place near schools. The latest one, even after the NYPD put more youth coordination cops on the beat around schools. So is the extra staffing helping in your view?
I think it's a good first step when it comes to ensuring the safety of our children. But what we have been calling for over a year now is for Mayor Adams to reinstate the Uniform Task Force unit, which was a unit of about 200 police officers assigned to the School Safety Division that would provide safe corridors outside of schools, along major thoroughfares leading from the school to the bus stop and to the train stations. While we appreciate the 6 youth coordination officers per precinct that they're assigning around schools, in and around schools, that is simply not enough. We need all hands on deck. The Uniform Task Force was disbanded under the de Blasio administration in 2020. And since then, we've seen an explosion of violence and incidents around schools. So we know what the solution is. The solution is bring back the Uniform Task Force and, just as important, hire more school safety agents. We have a shortage of almost 2,000 school safety agents. So these are the two things, the two concrete steps that the mayor can take to protect our children, because this violence that's happening mostly outside of school at dismissal has exploded, and our children are terrified.
Yeah, and it seems like the people that are involved get younger and younger. Well, the NYPD just told us that every week a top precinct officer will meet with principals to talk over the issues that you're just talking about, and administrative staff will also patrol dismissals at selected schools. I'm already getting from you that that's not enough, but what do you think about the NYPD meeting with the schools?
Again, even with the NYPD meeting with the schools, and we're happy that they're meeting with both New York City public school principals as well as charter school principals, private and parochial principals, that's good. This should have already been happening. But what we're saying is we know what will work. And what will work is the Uniform Task Force reinstated, put back, to protect our children. More school safety agents and the Uniform Task Force. Those were two things that worked. Those are two things that are lacking right now with the shortage of school safety agents. That's what the mayor and the NYPD need to do.
You know, so Mona, schools themselves, as we know, they're supposed to be this safe haven, right? And especially from gun violence. Just this week, there was a gun threat in a downtown school. School windows were shot out in Staten Island. I'm sure you heard about this, right? So why do you think the problem of guns in or near schools actually exists in the first place in terms of the proliferation of guns that we're seeing with the youth?
Well, I mean, yes, we can attribute that to, gun violence exploding throughout the country, and then the easy accessibility of guns in our communities. Too many of our young people have guns. But another big part, another contribution to this is the so-called criminal justice reforms. For example, if a young person is caught multiple times, charged with gun possession 4 or 5 times because of the recent criminal justice reforms, there really is no accountability, no consequences for having that weapon, because of the new bail reform law. So pretty much there's a revolving door. If you're a teenager, you're caught with a gun multiple times, it doesn't matter, you're sent to family court, and you're remanded into the custody of your parents. There are no consequences because of the bail reform laws, because of the raise the age laws. But those are things that are not in Mayor Adams' power to change. That is up to the legislature. But what is in Mayor Adams's power today to change and to take action is the Uniform Task Force and to move on hiring more school safety agents. So we need to look at right now, what steps can we take to counter all of this violence? And just last but not least, you know, we really do need more scanning in schools. The school yesterday where the young man had a firearm and threatened another student, that is a school that does not have scanning. Make no mistake, these young people have guns, and they are bringing the guns into the schools. We need scanning.
Yeah, it seems that no matter what, if they want a gun, they're going to find it. So do you think then that maybe school in areas around schools should be gun-free zones, just like Times Square is a gun-free zone? Should school areas also be gun-free zones?
A gun-free poster is not going to do it. No. To be honest with you, that simply makes no sense to me, having posters that say gun-free zones. We know what works, and that is more police officers on the streets to protect us, changing the bail reform laws, bringing in the Uniform Task Force to be outside of schools, and hiring more school safety agents.
All right.
That's the type of action, that's the type of response that we need from our mayor to protect our children. And we really hope that he's going to take that action soon.
Okay, yeah, and we put that question to him and the school chancellor about more police, and you know it's a conversation I think that needs to be had really on all sides, to be continued. Mona, good to have you here, founder of the New York City School Coalition, Safety Coalition. Good to chat with you.
Thank you for having me.